Memphis is the home of the blues, rock and roll, and Earle Farrell.
From the Collierville Square to the mighty Mississippi, the Earle Farrell for Memphis show is all about good things that happen across the Bluff City and the people who make Memphis cool.
The Earle Farrell for Memphis show is made possible by our title sponsor, Southern Security Federal Credit Union,
Jim Karras Chevrolet with George Gully, For Memphis Magazine, the Live at the Garden concert series, and the Orpheum Theater Group Memphis, and by Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, family owned and operated for more than 40 years. And brought to you by High-Low Commercial Services, owned by the cleanest man in the world, and by Walker Auctions, LLC. When it's time to sell, Walker Auctions doesn't fiddle around. Thank you to all the sponsors for making this possible.
And now, coming to you from Lansky Brothers, Clothier to the King, inside the world-famous Peabody Hotel with the heart of a cowboy and Memphis in his soul. Ladies and gentlemen, here's your host, Earle Farrell.
And thank you very much, and welcome to Lansky's Clothier to the King and everybody else that's in here today. There's a big crowd in. Summertime in Memphis means big crowds at the Peabody and Lansky's. Our first guest today is Christina Wiatr, and she is the CAO, which is Chief Chief, what's the word? Administrator.
I was just see how long it took them. This was fun.
Oh, yeah, you could have hung me out for a couple hours, but administrator, officer, and she was with the University of Memphis. I first met you with the University of Memphis, and then she came on board with Southern Security, and they've been a great addition, although you were very involved with Dawn and Southern Security, just with your position at the University of Memphis, because she's such a huge supporter of the university.
She is. I was very fortunate to have her on both the 911 board and then the Liza's Light.
Yep, and then you've got University of Memphis Blue still.
That's right. When you live in Memphis, you can't get away from it. And it's also a great Southern Security color, so happy to wear it.
Absolutely.
In this new role.
Right now you've got a project going on, which is this backpack thing. How long has Southern Security been behind
This is about our 4th or 5th year. So we've been supporters of youth villages for over 25 years. So really excited to be a part of this incredible organization.
I remember when the first time I started covering it for them, which was still with Fox, and back those days the backpacks were different colors. And I noticed in the photographs I put up on the promo for the show today that they're clear now because everybody's got to be able to see what's in the backpacks, right?
That's right. We stuff over 600 backpacks, and then each backpack has $100 worth of goods. So I wish that my boys had clear backpacks because they would hide less stuffed papers in the bottom of their backpacks. So
at least they pretended to have something there. Yeah. I'd come home with no books. My mother said, "You don't have any homework?" I took care of it already. Yeah. She said, "Earle, look me in the eye." That was my downfall. I couldn't lie to her. But this is something where over 600 kids, and they all have some affiliation with youth villages. And I've been there when they're doing the assembly line, and those are all volunteers from Southern Security and a lot of other people.
It's an amazing day. So last year was about when I started with the company, but got to be a part of it. So I even brought my kids along, but to stand alongside their employees. We have our employees, family members join, and it's just a lot of fun to stuff all those backpacks and realize the impact that you're going to have on all these kids and making sure that they're prepared for the school year, which is so important.
I remember when my kids were coming up, and my daughter, she didn't want to go to a private school. She hated Brackrest. I just wanted to go to a regular school. So we put her in Collierville Middle School. And Kathy goes, I said, "So we need to buy her a laptop?" She said, "No, the school gives it." I said, "What about the books? They pay for that too." I said, "What have we been doing all these years? I mean, we bought everything and then went to a private school." But all this stuff is very expensive, and it's stuff that doesn't come with the school. And the teachers, in many cases, have to end up helping the kids. Some kids. So you really are making a huge difference. And the stuff that you packed these backpacks with was already donated, or you got money and then bought them. But you're still taking donations. How does one go about that?
We are taking donations at all of our Memphis area locations. So we have locations at Poplar, Bartlett, Carville, and then down in South Haven as well. They're all collecting. We're collecting through this Thursday, so July 17th. And then Southern Security will step in, and whatever shortcomings we'll have, we'll make sure that we have enough supplies. So next week we can make sure all 600 backpacks are full of everything they need.
Have you ever been there when the kids actually get them?
I've not been a part of that.
Because I think that would be very interesting to see their faces when they get all this brand new stuff, it's not handed down from their older brothers or sisters,
right.
or and it's all alike. So nobody can sit there because you have several kids. So if one gets one thing, the other one wants exactly the same thing.
They're all making their list, right? Comparing.
Absolutely. So you can go by any Southern Security location.
Yep.
Which I think there are 5 just here in Memphis proper than South Haven.
So you have the Memphis location, which is right across from East High School, out in Bartlett. We have the Carville one, which is our new headquarters, and then South Haven as well. So.
And and as I said, you can go online.
You can actually go online, so it's youthvillages.org/backpacks, and you can donate online as well. So there's a list of all the supplies that we're collecting online, but again, you can also make a donation online, or you can even come into one of our branches, and we'll make sure that it gets allocated to this.
And if you haven't been to the new headquarters in Collierville, you need to go by there just to see the building. It's just absolutely beautiful. And by far the nicest building in Collierville, I like to say.
It is beautiful. They did a wonderful job designing it, and we're so lucky to now be housed out of there. But you walk in, and you don't necessarily feel like you're at a financial institution.
No.
So it has some beautiful touches, and then you kind of feel like you're on the town square a little bit with the dark brick as well.
Well, and as Dawn always is wanting to do, be immersed in the community, and that's part of why they built the building the way it was built, because it's also a place for other people to go and use the facility for things that are important to them in growing the community. And you've got a place up on the roof, a patio kind of a thing, and you can do functions up there.
Yeah, we're happy to host. Actually, we work with your daughter a lot with the Carville Chamber, and so every last Friday of the month we host a business over breakfast. And so all the local businesses, we invite any businesses that aren't members of the Carville Chamber to come out as well and connect with other community members.
In fact, I was just telling somebody the other day that doesn't live in Collierville, their business isn't there. I said, join anyway, because you have one of the most active chambers in the area.
That's right.
I mean, you go to one of those deals and there are hundreds of people there. You go to another one, there's like 8 people,
Well, more than likely someone in Carville is doing business with you if you operate out of Memphis or South Haven
Absolutely.
or Bartlett or anywhere,
Yeah.
We're all doing business throughout Shelby County.
And you're getting ready to start doing some podcasts from the headquarters.
Yeah, we're really
set up
excited.
like we are here at Lansky's. You're going to have one there.
We are.
And I'm going to try to come in and do one once a week from there. Then you're going to have the facility that's going to be, you make available to other companies that want to do podcasts out to their people.
Yeah, and we're super excited to hope that we also get some youth involved. So we have an amazing high school right around the corner as well, and so many talented kids there. So excited to open that space up to allow some of them to dabble in their own versions of podcasts. So.
And the Collierville High School used to have a radio program. Do they still have that?
They still do. They have a state of the art. I was fortunate enough to do a tour through there, and it's a very impressive operation that they have there. In fact, they could probably train us on how to operate a podcast, so we might be calling them up and asking the youth there to teach us a thing or two.
Can I just bring my cell phone and have them show me how to use it?
Yeah.
Sure, they have little hands like raccoons, as
Yeah.
my daughter is. Well, thank you very much for coming in and talking about this. This is just one of the many things that Southern Security is involved with. I guess the next big thing is football season, getting behind all that, but is it women's soccer? I guess that's over now, right?
Women's soccer will kick off in the fall, so
It's
I
the
think
fall.
their schedules probably come out, so they'll be over on the Park Avenue campus.
When does Liza's Light the field? When will that all officially? Because
I don't want to misspeak, but I've heard rumors that possibly in the fall there's a groundbreaking happening, which means then they'll have the approval that they need to start.
Because
they've
raised the money for it.
The money is there,
Yeah.
I've been told. So it was in a really good spot when I left, which was one of the things that was important to me. And super excited to be here at Southern Security, where we also support that initiative. So, but I think the fall is the groundbreaking. So.
Well, then you have to deal with construction, and I just got through having a roof over my deck that caved in during the ice and snow. That was 4 months ago, and they finally got around to finishing it. So it doesn't happen quickly, but it's certainly a great addition to the University of Memphis, especially for the women's soccer. And a bunch of other sports. Men's soccer is going to have some facility there
Men's
as well.
soccer and even track. It'll be amazing to have actual stands that you're not a little afraid to climb up to the top of. So they'll be able to host additional meets hopefully out there as well.
I just remember when I was in high school, we didn't have bleachers for the track meets. It was just you go watch it. There's no crowd, so you don't have problems anybody standing in front of you. And they deserve as much recognition as football, baseball, the rest of them. But I ran cross country, and of course you saw me at the beginning and the end if I made it.
It's a great sport, though. My youngest runs it, and it's a phenomenal supportive sport. So I love the cross country community as well.
Well, it is, and it is great training for life because you can't quit, and you got to pace yourself. There's a lot of things to be learned by cross country running. Well, Christina, thank you very much for coming in. Always great seeing you again, and tell Dawn hi.
Will do.
And are you getting close to launching the podcast there at the headquarters?
We are hoping by the beginning of the fall that it'll be launched and up, and you'll be out there doing some shows with us. So.
I'm looking forward to it. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Ducks Unlimited, which is based here in Memphis as Southern Security, and they're going to be putting on a huge duck expo right here at the new Renaissance Convention Center. We're going to talk about that up next. Then we have a guy that knows a lot about duck hunting, and we'll talk to him. So it's all coming up. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Dawn Grader, President and CEO of Southern Security Federal Credit Union at our new headquarters here in Collierville, Tennessee, off by Hellier Road. We are the proud presenting sponsor of the Earle, Farrell for Memphis show and are looking forward to a great 2026 where some of the shows will be hosted from our new headquarters location here in Collierville.
Hello, Memphis Mid-South. And first, I'd like to thank you for visiting with Earle Farrell Memphis today, and we want to support him just like you do. I'm George Gully, one of the sales managers at Jim Carey Chevrolet. We've been in business here in Memphis for over 75 years. I've been associated with the company for almost 25, and I'll help you find the right car, truck, or SUV here at not only our Chevy store, but also Buick, GMC, Nissan, Subaru. We can help you find that right car. Keep watching Earle and come see me. Thanks so much.
Hi, I'm Mitch Wright.
And I'm his son, Mickey.
And we're the owners of Mitch Wright Plumbing, Heating, and Air.
And proud sponsors of the Earle Farrell for Memphis show.
We're thankful to be part of the Memphis community. We've been in business for 42 years, taking care of people and loving the people of the Mid-South.
Hi, I'm Jamison Totten, the Director of Live at the Garden and the Radiance Amphitheater.
Hi, I'm Olivia Wall. I'm the Director of Marketing Communications at the Memphis Botanic Garden.
We've got a great season coming up for you this year.
Next up, we have Little Big Town.
After that, we have Deep Purple and with special guest Kansas.
Coming up, we have John Legend. And now, the rescheduled date for Alabama, September 3rd.
Next, we have Cool in the Gang and Patti LaBelle on September 18th. Our last show. It'll be a great show. So come on out, bring your cooler, your friends, your drinks, and your food, and have a great time at Live at the Garden under the stars.
And welcome back. Joining me now is David Schuessler, who is the Chief Funding Raising Officer for Ducks Unlimited. And we're just talking, he just walked into the building because traffic on I-240, we should warn them. Don't go there.
That's right. Don't go there. Not this time of day.
It is, they're doing repaving on I-240 South. And while it's certainly welcome, it's not an easy thing to do during the day with traffic and everything else.
It's not, but it'll be great when it gets done.
Absolutely. Which is what we were talking about right before we came on, is that Ducks Unlimited has not always been in Memphis.
No, sir.
Which is kind of amazing when you think about it, because we're on one of the main flyways in the United States of this hemisphere.
Yes, sir.
And a few years ago, and I don't know how it happened, maybe you could explain to it. I just remember it said Ducks Unlimited is coming here. I said, about time.
Well, Ducks Unlimited's been around since 1937 and was actually started by some businessmen out of New York City. And they would travel down to the eastern shores of North Carolina every year, and they noticed that fewer and fewer ducks were coming south, and they decided to do something about it, and so they formed Ducks Unlimited. And our headquarters started out in New York City, and then in the mid-'60s moved outside of Chicago, Illinois to Long Grove, and they outgrew that facility, and the city of Long Grove wouldn't allow them to expand that building, so they started looking around, and they said, well, where are we going to go? And at that time, there were two former presidents of Ducks Unlimited who both were in the beer industry. We had Pete Coors, who everybody's familiar with.
I've been smuggling Coors beer for years into Texas.
And so Pete wanted Ducks Unlimited to be in Golden, Colorado, where Coors Brewing is. And then we had a former president by the name of Harry Knight who had worked for Budweiser.
Wow.
And Budweiser had a lot of land outside of Williamsburg, Virginia, and he wanted DU to be in Budweiser country over there. And As the story goes, there was a group of avid waterfowl hunters here in Memphis, led by Billy Donovan and Chuck Smith, and they said, no, Ducks Unlimited needs to be in Memphis, Tennessee. So they put all their friends together, and an endowment was put together for our building out near the Agri Center. And so in 1992, the headquarters moved to Memphis, and I'm thrilled that it did, because now I get to live in Memphis and work for Ducks Unlimited.
Where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Tallahassee, Florida, but I have lived all over the South, as my accent might tell people. And
Well, I don't hear an accent.
and
I have none either.
But moved to Memphis 19 years ago from Austin, Texas. I was with DU out in Texas and moved here, and it's been my family's home ever since, and I've raised 2 boys here, and so it is home now. I now have lived in Memphis longer than I lived in Tallahassee, Florida.
Same with me. I was born in Texas, out in Odessa, went to University of Texas, Austin, and moved here from Dallas in '78. And I've lived here now almost 50 years, so I've lived here longer than I've lived anywhere else, and love Memphis, and it's Ducks Unlimited does so much. People think it's just an organization that promotes duck hunting, and it is absolutely so much more than that.
It is. Most of our supporters are duck hunters, but you certainly don't have to be one to support DU. And what we do is conserve upland areas and wet areas for waterfowl all up and down the flyways. We have work in Canada, Mexico, and all through the U.S., and have now conserved over 15 million acres for North America's waterfowl, and about every public hunting area in the United States has benefited from Ducks Unlimited's work, and most of our focus are on the breeding grounds where the birds need us the most, but it's a great organization to work for, and we're proud to be in Memphis, Tennessee.
This expo you've got coming up is something that I have so many friends. It's been in other cities over the years, and is it on a rotating basis, or?
Well, not anymore.
I mean, so it's going to be here from now on.
Well, it's here at least this year and next year. We have no plans to move from Memphis. As long as downtown is big enough to hold us, we plan on being here.
Well, we'll just make them grow it so it can accommodate, because it's a great thing to have people come to Memphis. We do the show here at Lansky's, and we see people from all over the world here every single day we do the show. And it is great to have something as impressive and as noteworthy and valuable as Ducks Unlimited here, because there's nothing you don't do that really helps the world. I mean, in conservation and improving waterways, the quality of water, land. I mean, you cover so much.
Yes, sir. We had a show in Memphis years ago called the Great Outdoors Festival. Mm-hmm. And due to economic things that happened, so many shows like that kind of went away. And then when we revived DUX, the first place we put it was out in Texas. It was in Fort Worth at the Texas Motor Speedway. And we had 3 good shows out there. Our first show was going to be in the spring of 2020, so it was canceled with the pandemic. But we ended up having 3 great shows out there, but wanted at that time to move the show around to offer opportunities for people around the country, and went to a meeting at the Renaissance Convention Center. And this was post all the work that had been done on it. And we walked through that big, beautiful, columnless expo hall and said, this really is the place we need to be. And our sponsors and our exhibitors told us that they wanted a show that was more at the end of summer, a show that was in the Mississippi Flyway, and they were right, because last year we broke records at the convention center in our first year there with the number of people inside on the floor, and everything this year is pointing to a bigger show this year, and more people coming to Memphis and spending their hard-earned dollars at restaurants and shops just like this all around the Bluff City.
Well, it is the heart of duck hunting world.
It is.
I mean, and you've got duck hunters all over the world. They come here from Europe to duck hunt in the United States.
Right here, yes, sir.
And, of course, Stuttgart over there, Jerry Jones has a huge duck hunting facility over there that he flies his friends in on private jets, not the big ones, just the ones that can land there.
That can land in Stuttgart. In fact, I've been in Jerry's lodge. It's a wonderful lodge, and the one thing that impresses me so much is it's hard to find any of that Dallas Cowboys stuff in there. I think he likes to have it like it was before he bought the Cowboys, and it's
because he's
really
had
neat.
it that long.
He's had it that long, yes, sir.
Well, he's a great sportsman, as we all know, and also you don't want to alienate anybody by having the star around too much.
Right. That's exactly right.
Believe it or not everybody's a Cowboy fan. I can't believe it myself, but the expo, we've got a video, Rob, I think that kind of talks about Ducks Unlimited and what else you do much better than I can. So let's watch that, and we'll come back and talk more about the expo.
Excellent.
Ducks Unlimited is the leader in wetlands conservation. Since 1937, we've delivered conservation on tens of millions of acres across North America.
Our mission is simple: to deliver wetlands conservation for waterfowl, wildlife, and people. But behind that mission is a robust ecosystem built on science, partnerships, and people like you.
Together, we protect the places that matter most. Wetlands support the life cycles of waterfowl and wildlife, filter and provide clean water, reduce flooding, and even help store carbon.
But our efforts aren't possible without the dedicated people who make it happen. Our volunteers and supporters raise essential funds, forming the backbone of every wetland project we undertake.
Science is our foundation. Ducks Unlimited's biologists collaborate closely with landowners and farmers to restore wetlands and improve waterfowl habitats. These partnerships ensure that solid data and sustainable practices inform every project.
DU's partnerships with corporations and conservation groups amplify every dollar we raise. These leveraged funds enhance Ducks Unlimited's resources, enabling us to achieve more collectively than we could alone.
Ducks Unlimited collaborates with lawmakers at all levels to advocate for protecting wetlands and wildlife. These policies secure funding, safeguard critical habitats, and ensure our project's long-term success.
DU's fundraising events motivate immediate action and connect communities to our mission. Through banquets, auctions, and gatherings, we raise essential funds and foster a strong community dedicated to conservation. Each event supports Ducks Unlimited's efforts, which protect the most critical lands for waterfowl, wildlife, and people.
Landowners play an essential role in conserving our natural landscapes. By partnering with Ducks Unlimited, they protect their land through conservation easements, ensuring these habitats remain safe for wildlife forever.
Through our ambitious Conservation for a Continent $3 billion comprehensive campaign, we've set a new standard, delivering conservation on over 1 million acres of wetlands in just 1 year.
The impact of this campaign was magnified by a historic $100 million gift from Cox Enterprises. DU's partnership with Cox Enterprises has transformed the scale of our conservation work.
This monumental contribution is a long-term investment in the future of wetlands, wildlife, and the natural spaces we rely on. And we're just getting started.
Our mission is far from over. Your support is crucial.
Join us today to help protect our wetlands and to ensure a healthy future for our communities.
Yeah. And what a iconic logo the Ducks had. I mean, you don't have to tell anybody who that is.
No, they tell us it's one of the most recognized logos in the outdoors industry.
Well, I would say in the world.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. It's a great story behind that logo. It actually came out of DU Canada, our sister organization to the north, and it's just one of those tales of somebody doodling on a napkin one day that was back in the communications department, said, "What do you think about this?" And today it's that logo.
Somebody told me that's how Hooters started too, is on a cocktail napkin. So great things can come from simple drawings. The show that's going to be here in Memphis, July 31st through August 2nd, is one of the largest outdoor shows in the nation.
It's the largest duck hunting focused show in the world.
Amazing. And the thing is that I'm amazed about is I have friends that not long ago, was it in Nashville not long ago?
There was the National Wild Turkey Federation.
That's what it was.
An organization similar to DU with a focus on turkeys. They hold a big show in Nashville. I believe their show is in its 50th year, I believe, and it's a really big show. They do a wonderful job with it.
Well, I will say this: the only thing harder to shoot than ducks are turkeys. I mean, if you ever had a shot a turkey, congratulations.
They see a lot better than ducks do.
They can see, they can hear, and but I love turkey hunting. I just love being out there, and same thing with duck hunting. And there are people think you only can go to places like, and we're going to be talking with a longtime hunter and author about duck hunting. So many duck clubs like Jerry Jones, but there are also places you can go, you can access, you can get into that you don't have to have a boat, you don't have to have dogs. You buy your duck stamp and you go.
That's exactly right. We're blessed in this part of the world, especially in Arkansas, to have some of the richest public hunting heritage around the country, and still many public hunting areas that are owned by state as well as the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. So this is an easy part of the world to be a duck hunter. Duck hunting is not easy, but it's an easy part of the world to be a duck hunter in. And I'm blessed to live here. I really am. It's a wonderful place to be a duck hunter.
It's what I tell people all the time when they move here from someplace else. I said, "Do you hunt or fish?" And whether they say yes or no, I said, "You will," because access is there, and some of the best hunting and fishing in the world is in this area.
That's exactly right. To me, it's very similar to New Orleans. When you go to New Orleans, they first are going to ask you what church do you go to, and then where do you hunt. It's the same thing in Memphis. What church do you go to, and then what's your club? So.
Absolutely. And the way people can get involved, you don't have to be a duck hunter, as you said, but going to this outdoor show, there's something for everybody. You got like 300 or some brands that are going to be there?
More than 300 exhibitors will be there. We had such a large waiting list, we actually pulled back on some of our own DU events and expanded to the lower level this year, so more than 300 exhibitors. And they're not all duck hunting exhibitors. We have ATV exhibitors, sunglasses, there's clothing companies. While it's certainly focused on the duck hunter, it's an outdoor lifestyle show.
Whether you're a fisherman or whatever, or you just like to go out in the country with an ice cooler and some beer.
That's right.
It fits there.
Exactly right.
The Ducks Unlimited headquarters, I've been there many times. Do you have tours, or can people just come in? I know you're right in the entrance. There's an entire lobby full of exhibits with incredible shotguns and the history.
We have our Gun of the Year collection there, our Tony Palermo Gun of the Year collection, thanks to Tony who passed away last year, but we are very fortunate. We never kept any of our shotguns of the year. Tony did. In fact, he had more than one collection, and later in life, he donated those to us. But anybody can come in and request a tour at the front desk, and it is very common to. In fact, today I saw two different groups of people who were going around getting a tour, looking at all of the artwork and the maps that we have, and then the collections like the Gun of the Year collection.
When you get there, just go to Walnut Grove, turn right as you're going east before you get to Germantown Parkway, and you'll see the flag.
You'll see
from
the
Walnut
flag.
Grove.
You can't miss the flag.
Follow the flag and get in there, and you'll be very, very impressed. One of the things that I always loved about what you did, they had a banquet every year, and you would auction off a couple of the famous shotguns. And you made a ton of money off that because everybody wanted that shotgun.
We have our firearms, our collectible firearms today are still just like they've been for decades. One of the largest revenue generators for us, and we're up to over 6,000 events a year.
Wow.
Across the country. Since the pandemic, we're doing more online fundraising now, so you can enjoy an auction or a raffle in the states where online raffles are legal right from the comfort of your couch. So we've expanded and we continue to grow. And with that growth of revenue has come the growth in acres. We're celebrating our third year of conserving more than 1 million acres in a 12-month period.
Well, congratulations on that. Because
thank you.
And that's what keeps it from being developed. You continue to develop that, and much of it is wetlands, which we have to keep the ducks moving. You don't have wetlands between Canada and Mexico, they stop.
Exactly, and there are those critical areas, those mid-latitude areas, the rainwater basins of Nebraska, the Chesapeake Bay, where it is so critical, not to mention the most critical, the breeding grounds. But as we focus in on those areas, to think that in 2026 we still have the opportunities that we did decades ago to still pursue these wonderful, wonderful birds. It's what drives all of us, whether staff like myself or the 33,000 volunteers that help us raise our funds every year. That's what drives us every single day.
Well, your job, which is raising money for Ducks Unlimited, all you got to do is say, give me some more shotguns. That's all I need.
You know, it is just that simple some nights.
Well, let's not tell anybody. We want to keep you here with Ducks Unlimited. David Schuessler, thank you very much for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me.
We'll have you back on after the event, and you can talk about it.
That'll be great.
All right. Speaking of duck hunters, we have one. Not only does he duck hunt, but he's written a book, 11 of them, on duck hunting. Up next, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Brett Batterson, President and CEO of the Orpheum Theater Group in downtown Memphis. We are so pleased with our partnership with the Earle Farrell Show and very happy that he is broadcasting live from Lansky's at the historic Peabody Hotel. We're all here to make Memphis better.
This is Lance Walker, Fast Talker with Walker Auctions. You're watching Sean McMahon with Walker Auctions. We're setting up a business inventory auction, and this business is not going out of business. They're just reducing their inventory. If we can help you, give Walker Auctions a call, 901-493-1936, or go to walkerauctions.com.
Hospitals ask him for advice. Janitors ask him for autographs. He once cleaned a mirror so well it became a window. He once cleaned a subway pole, and crime dropped 40%. He has never once read the instructions on a bottle of shampoo. The shampoo already knows what to do. Even bleach thinks he overdoes it a little. Soap companies use him as the control group. Even his shadow practices good hygiene. He once cleaned a public restroom. Now it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site. His laundry detergent contains 0% chemicals, just a photo of him on the bottle. He once coughed in a hospital, and everyone got healthier. The CDC occasionally calls him for backup. The 5-second rule doesn't apply around him. He organized a junk drawer so well it's now a museum. He is the cleanest man in the world.
I don't always drink, but when I do, even the ice cubes feel disinfected.
And welcome back to Lansky's, and also our next guest, Dr. Wayne Capooth. And I said Capooth would be a great name for a magician. You could Capooth everything.
My wife would go along with that.
Can she make money disappear?
Yeah, pretty quick, too, I'll tell you.
A little bit on your history, which is very, very interesting. You grew up here in Memphis, went to high school here, graduated, got a scholarship to the University of Alabama under world-famous coach Bear Bryant.
Correct.
I mean, did you realize how big a deal that was when you got the scholarship to Alabama?
Well, of course, I knew how famous, even at that time, and this was 62, of how famous he was even at that time, you know, Kentucky and then Texas A&M. And I don't know if you ever watched film of the Junction Boys on when he was at Texas A&M, how he ran off through physicality of about 3/4 of the team.
Well, that was back during the era I was in high school, starting in '65, and they gave us salt tablets, but no water.
Yeah, well, it was the same way at Alabama.
Yeah, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
And they said, that's good enough for Bear.
Oh, I don't know how we got through, to be truthful with you.
I don't either. And you look at the number of people that have dropped and died of heat exhaustion in modern day football.
Yeah.
I don't know whether we were just tougher, but they called you a wimp if you blacked out because you were dehydrated.
No, we were tougher.
I think it's
no
what
doubt,
it was.
No doubt about it.
Maybe not smarter, but tougher.
You see that Popeye muscle there?
Well, so you did that. Then you became a physician, a surgeon. and you served during the Vietnam era. You went to Vietnam, just didn't serve in Vietnam.
Right, correct. I did not serve in Vietnam.
And then you came back in lifelong surgeon, emergency room doc?
Emergency, yeah, for 30 years, and then went to the, retired from that in 2002, and then went to the University of Memphis and became the medical director at their student health clinic out there for 12 years and have been retired since 2014.
But really the only reason you did any of that is so you could have enough money to go duck hunting.
For 60 years.
Do you remember the first time you went duck hunting?
I can tell you the first time it enticed me to start duck hunting, which is a little more interesting probably. As most Southern boys, I grew up squirrel hunting, rabbit hunting, coon hunting occasionally, and then quail hunting. And my 10-year older friend lived up in Raymer, Tennessee, which is about 70 miles east of here on Highway 72. He had a bunch of bird dogs, so I got into quail hunting. I'm gonna make a story short.
Which is tough to find. We tried to raise quail at our ranch in Texas because there just aren't any anymore.
Well, back in then, we could do really good. We could get anywhere, if you hunt half a day, you're gonna get 4 to 6 coveys.
Wow.
But anyway, we're out duck hunting, a sunshiny day, and it had rained, and there was a little puddle of water along the edge of the harvested bean fields and timber line along it. And we're walking on the field right by the tree line, and it bends to the left a little bit, and a little pool of water's out there, maybe about a half acre. And as we round it, the sun's there, and these 2 ducks get out there, mallards. One's a green head, and that green head's just glistening off that. And I just said to myself, I got to get into duck hunting. So anyway, I got into duck hunting.
Well, it is. There's something fascinating about ducks, and plus I love to eat them. Duck à l'orange is probably my favorite dish, but anything you do with duck poppers, duck anything, I love. But a lot of people sit there and go, it's so miserably cold, and it's always wet or raining, and you got to set up in the dark, get wet, taken down. But there's got to be something mystical about it, because look how many people do it, and do it 60, 70 years.
Well, I don't think you can do it if you don't enjoy nature. You know, to see that sun rise over the horizon and change colors, skies change colors, or even being out there during a downpour. And I think you mentioned either a wimp or, what did you say earlier?
A wimp, I think is it.
You can't be a wimp, okay?
No.
So you got to it's just a matter of enjoying it, nature.
But it's also tradition. I think that plays a huge part in it, because all of the people in my family, my grandfather, my dad, my son now, and I'm sure my grandson, it is something that you go through because you have to be tough. You get out there and just being with family and friends, and there's really not anything like it. It's totally different from any other kind of hunting because you're with groups of people.
Yeah.
You don't hunt with deer with groups of people. Possibly coon hunting, you do have groups because of all the dogs and all, and there's so many different ways of doing it. Some people have dogs that retrieve the ducks. Other people don't have dogs. They got boats, and they shoot around and go send the skiff out there to pick up the ducks. But there's a jillion ways to do it, and none of them are wrong. And it is, in fact, we got some pictures. Let's take a look. This is obviously back in the 30s just because of the car behind this huge picture of all these ducks.
That's Gillette, Arkansas. And that's a one-day hunt for those 2, 4, 6, 7, and one taking a picture, so 8 hunters.
And
Gillette, no limit
no,
back
I was
then.
going to say no limit.
Back in, this is after Rice has come. Rice came in Arkansas in 1904, around sort of a triangle area. Gillette, DeWitt, and Stuttgart, little triangle. Stuttgart's at the north there. And that was the place back then.
Because drew them in because of the rice. And the water.
And that's the only place that rice hadn't spread yet.
Yeah.
And this was about 1930 something, according to looking at the car and everything. But
you look at that, and I mean, I don't know how, I hadn't counted the ducks. There's got to be at least 100 there.
Yeah, at least 100.
And then there's another picture here. Well, here's a group shot, and this was back in the 50s, 56.
56.
And then, but there's another picture. That's you playing football. We'll come back to that. This is what I wanted to show. That's what it used to look like in wetlands, and the see the cypress trees back there. literally, I've even read where the sky would turn dark. There were so many ducks. I mean, we're talking millions.
Yeah.
And then, but for so many years, there were no limits, and was there a season for ducks? Or
Seasons is like the limits that came in later. Eventually, usually, prior to 1900, there was no seasons and no limit back then.
So they just would go, but they couldn't really preserve them. So were they just shoot them for the sport of shooting them?
They would give them away to their neighbors. Well, first of all, there's market hunters.
Yeah,
that are doing
I've read
it
about
for selling
that.
money. And then you have what's called the sportsmen, and they killed them for themselves. They killed them for their neighbors, their friends, and charity and hospitals, and would give them away.
I saw a thing on Meat Eater. I don't know if you ever watched that show, but they had I think I called a plug gun. It was a huge, it looked like a cannon.
No, that's a punt gun.
Punt gun, that's it, punt. And it had a trigger mechanism with a really beautiful stock, wooden stock. And you'd screw that onto the end after you had these shells that were like 9 inches long, and you bolted it to a boat because you couldn't take the impact of the recoil of the thing. And it sounds like a cannon going off, and it would literally put these targets up, and it would literally hit every target. And the further away you got from it, it was so powerful, it killed like a huge range.
Well, depending, you could kill 60 or 80 ducks with a shot.
Yeah.
Now, it was propped up in the back, so the recoil would hit a wooden prop behind you. But it was enough recoil, it'd send that little punt boat about 6 or 8 feet, too.
Well, but then it caught up to them because they killed so many ducks, not just here in Arkansas, Memphis, it was Louisiana, it was anywhere there were ducks, and they nearly made them extinct.
Yeah.
Which is where Ducks Unlimited, was that the reason Ducks Unlimited came in?
Number one. Number two was the Dust Bowl years and Depression. Dust Bowl year hit about the same time as the Depression did. And the Dust Bowl is when it was so hot and dry. The dust storms, especially out in Kansas and New Mexico and that area, just dust storms would fill the sky. And all the wetlands would dried up, so the ducks couldn't breed. So it was a shortage from 1930 to 1938. The ducks had just because of that they couldn't breed because it's so dry. No wetlands.
Yeah.
They got to have moist ground to basically breed and stuff. So that was a great impact, and that's how DU got started. And it got organized in 1936. And the first, Memphis was one of the first chapters that joined, and each chapter had to put up $5,000 to join DU at that time.
But Memphis has always been a huge hunting center. I can't tell you how many friends I have that have a 2-car garage, and one of the garages is full of nothing but duck hunting stuff, or a 3-car garage, and one of the stalls is just for duck. I mean, 4-wheelers, coveralls. I mean, you name it. Huge bag for the decoys. It's not a cheap hobby.
Not only duck hunting, but this area is the Mid-South, Memphis being the center. And if you consider a spoke, Memphis is the hub, and the spokes go out and cover up the Mid-South, which is part of the Boot Hill, Missouri, western Kentucky, all the way to the Tennessee River, down into northern Mississippi and over in Arkansas to past Stuttgart. And it's called the Serengeti of America because there's just more than duck hunting. There used to be buffalo, elk in this area.
And they have brought elk back to East Tennessee and to Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I understand that also bears and wolves they're starting to show up. And I just saw yesterday the alligators are starting to move into
so warm now.
Mississippi and into Tennessee.
And even bear, there's books called The Famous Bear Hunters in the old days, and there's about 4 of them down in Mississippi, around Sardis and I can't think of the other place, but northwestern Mississippi just had along the Mississippi River and the Tallahatchie tons of big old black bear.
And they're coming back, and they're fascinating, but they're also very powerful. So these are not the play pretties. You treat them with respect. You've written 11 books, which is pretty amazing. I mean, I think if I could do one, that would be a lot. and I've got some of the different books you've written. Let me pull one up here. The Golden Age of Waterfowling. And that was going back to the history, as we've kind of discussed here today, is how we kind of got here. And then you had the Golden Age of Waterfowling, and that's, I think, inside the book, No More Tears.
Yeah, I decided to do a novel, see if I could really write.
Because you got to make all that stuff up based on fact,
Yeah.
right? And then the Mississippi Flyway, the ancient ones. Have you gone out on the Flyway they just completed here in Memphis on the Mississippi? Where you walk out over the river?
Oh, the Overlook?
Yeah, the Overlook.
We
yeah.
live in the old Rivermont Holiday Inn condos.
Right.
It's at the very foot of where you're talking about. And we went out there, Rosanna and I, my wife sitting right over here. We went over there actually before it was finished and everything. I tell you, it's pretty spectacular, really.
Which is going to be great for people because they can actually get out on the water and see things they could never see from Riverside Drive and really experience some of the things. Do you ever think it will get back to the point where we'll see huge migrating ducks the way it used to be?
I don't think so. And let me just say, I was preceded by the DU gentleman. If it wasn't for DU, we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Talking about it,
and
man.
I wouldn't have 11 books on the history of duck hunting out either. Them and Delta Waterfowl is another one. But those two organizations, especially DU, they have saved what we have right now. And it has come back, obviously, since the Dust Bowl years. And there's been other years when they're dry, like 59 to 64 was another dry year. So the limit would go down to one duck in a 30-day season. So it fluctuates back and forth.
Oh, I've seen it in the last few years here in Memphis, man, where you go out there and say, any ducks? Nope, they haven't come down yet.
Well, it's changing. I'm going to tell you, the climate, I'll get in trouble here with the climate change, but it's no doubt, the glaciers, the ice glaciers, started receding about 12,000 years ago. And they came all the way down to Canada and down in Nebraska and up. So we're in the middle of the dry period. Between every glacier period is an interglacial period, a warming period. And unfortunately, we're in that period. And that has nothing to do with humans. If there was no humans on this earth,
It'll still be happening.
Still be happening.
And you have to look at it this way. If it hadn't gotten warmer, we never would have come back ourselves because we wouldn't have been able to survive the environment with the extreme temperatures that existed. Now, it is through groups like Ducks Unlimited and sportsmen who pay by their duck stamps and licenses, and that's what helps keep all these programs going, is that. In fact, the duck stamp they come up with every year is another incredible painting or drawing of a duck head.
Yeah.
And that's part of where the money comes from. And people collect those like art.
Yeah, and there's a lot that collect that are not duck hunters.
Oh, absolutely. I know here's a picture of you and one of your sons.
My youngest boy, Chad, and that's our yellow lab, Jesse. And Jesse, long story on Jesse, but let me just say, on her 12th year opening morning hunting over by Mark Tree, Arkansas on the St. Francis River in a blind. And it was a slow day, and we were out there all day. Me and Jesse was the only one in the blind at the club. And about 4:30, I said it's time to leave, so we went back to the dock. And we got back to the dock. We were hunting the river in the blind. She swelled up, man. She was bloated like all get out. I'm gonna make a long story short, but anyway, barely could get her back home. And I make the stupid mistake of saying to mom and dad, or to the boys and my wife, she ain't gonna live. She's barely breathing. I'm gonna take her out here in the country and put her out of her misery. Well, that didn't go over.
Yeah.
So anyway, we took her to the vet, and the vet says, look, her gut's twisted, she's bloated. At 12 years of age, she might make it and she might not. If we operate, we'll see what happens, but she may not make it.
And that's what it was, twisted gut.
And we'll keep her overnight. I get a call the next afternoon at 2 o'clock, come get her. She's dead. I take her to where I got her, and we buried her in our oak tree, and she lays there now, Jessie, 12 years old. And she was, when I first got her at 6 months of age, she wouldn't retrieve. She might retrieve, she might not. So I sent her to a trainer in Henderson, Tennessee, expert trainer. I said, look, here she is. She shies all get out. She might retrieve, she might not. He says, we'll leave her for a week, and I'll see what I can do. He calls me 3 days later, come get her. I can't do anything with her. Well, anyway, it goes on. After 12 years, she was one heck of what I call a meat dog. She was not a field trial type dog.
Yeah.
But as far as meat, going out and get the duck and retrieving and find them, she was it.
Well, dogs are like people. They all learn in different ways.
Yeah.
And some of the best humans at things were slow starters themselves, so don't ever give up on them. A lot of people I know that do have great retrievers, that was the best part of the hunt for them, was working with their dogs.
Oh, yeah, I know.
And how much the dogs enjoy it. They don't even feel the cold. I mean, they're out there, you could just tell their eyes they're watching, and it is a part of duck hunting that nobody else does that except in duck hunting.
I tell you, when they bring one back into the bank to you or wherever you are, you can almost see the smile on their face, man.
Dogs do grin.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's your son, and how old is your son now?
The oldest is 45, and the other one is about 41.
Mine's 37, and but they remember the first time they went, and I remember the first time I went, and it was in Texas, and we had tanks out there, which they call small ponds, but they're for stock tanks, and we would slip on the back of the tank and peek over the edge. It's like kind of a dam. And they would be out there in the water, and I'd ask my dad, can we shoot them on the water? Shoot them any way you can. They go boom, boom, boom. And but there weren't near the number of ducks that you see over here in Arkansas and Mississippi. And it is we're all very fortunate to live here and live here now when people are taking care of things much better. The trout fishing, my son's catching bass down where he lives. I mean, they look like tunas. They're so huge.
Yeah.
So we're very, very fortunate to live in a place like the Mid-South where really the hunting and fishing is really unparalleled.
Well, it's blooded into you, basically, in the South, for the most part.
Plus, we all like to eat, and a lot of this stuff is the best eating you're ever going to find.
You ever eat a coot?
I don't think so. But I've eaten a lot of stuff, so I'm not going to say I didn't. I just might not have known what it was. What is a coot?
A coot is a sort of a trash waterfowl, but it's not really in the duck family. It's another family. It's a blackish type duck colored.
Well, they're mud ducks.
That's mud duck. That's a coot.
And the thing I'm amazed about, really good duck hunters, even early morning when you barely got a silhouette of them coming in, they can tell you what kind of a duck that is flying.
Yeah, you can tell absolutely.
Which amazes me. I'm thinking if it's flying, I'm shooting it. But they go, that's a mud duck. Let it go. And explain that. That's because they go down and they actually scoop up mud along with the other stuff they're eating.
Yeah. And
it does kind of taint the taste of the meat.
Yeah.
But because I know with catfish, if you cut away that outer layer on the outside of the fillets and just get to the meat, it doesn't have a muddy taste. Is that possible with ducks as well?
I'm telling a lot of stories. Am I getting off track by telling stories?
I do this all the time.
I left Arkansas in '81 to go down to Mississippi. I wanted to get a change of venue, joined the club down there, and we had about 15 members, and we had a guy that was from Arkansas but then lived outside of Arkansas at another state, and he was a physician like me, and an excellent duck hunter, and had labs like I did, and he liked to hunt by himself or his brother. So we're at the dinner table one night at the clubhouse, about 10 of us, and he says, we got to talking, about coots came up. He says, I tell you what I'm going to do, I'm going to go out tomorrow. He's by himself this time. I'm going out tomorrow, and I'm going to kill a pintail, I'm going to kill a mallard, I'm going to kill a teal, and I'm going to kill a widget, and I'm going to kill a coot. I'm going to come back, I'm going to skin them or dress them, and I'm going to put them on the grill, marinate them, and bacon and other things. And I'm going to lay them, put them on a platter, and put them out in different, knowing I know what they are.
But a blind
I'm
tasting.
going to pass them around dinner table the next night.
Yeah.
And you tell me which one's a coot. Well, nobody picked out the coot out of those.
So
things.
There goes that theory.
And that's the only time I ever eat coot.
I didn't know I was eating it, but they told me that you did. It is the eating. A lot of people just take the breast.
Yeah.
But a lot of people pluck them and cook the whole thing, roast it in the oven because they like the whole thing.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of things, I think. There's a lot more to duck hunting than eating the duck. I mean, that's almost like the last part of the whole story. It's getting ready for duck season. I mean, I have friends that are duck hunters, friends of mine. They're getting the equipment ready. They're checking their boat. They're going out to where they hunt. There's all this whole ritual they go through. And to me, just being around them, they enjoy that almost more than the actual getting up early and going and hunting the ducks.
Yeah, it's. You asked me what was my favorite part. I said nature, but you also brought up something during this was just the socializing of stuff. And now you brought up a third point. Just getting ready.
Yeah, because it's almost like I always say.
Anticipation.
Yeah. Going on vacation, the best part of vacation takes place about 2 weeks before the vacation.
Yeah. Well, it's like when I dated my wife for the first time. All that anticipation,
To that point, let me ask you this. You're a physician. You've written 11 books. When you say something around your wife, does she sit there and look at me the way my wife looks at me and goes, well, anyway, are you considered an expert in your own family?
My wife's pretty demonstrative,
You may have written 11 books, but they weren't about me, right?
First of all, she's a clinical psychologist, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm her biggest long-term treatment failure.
Yeah, well, if you're like me, it just goes in one ear and out the other. So.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just fascinating having you here, and I love what you've done throughout your life. I mean, you've always helped people. You've always been involved in nature, and you've shared that with a lot of people, and you did again today, and I thank you for that.
Well, thanks very much. I appreciate it.
And I'm going to try to read some of your books, and then one thing you could teach me is I've always had a problem leading. If they're coming right at me, I got them. But that leading, I always want to give them less of leeway.
Well, see, you're the type of guy I want to hunt with because I can claim all the ducks.
Yes, you can. I said, would you give me one?
I do a podcast, too, and it's, like I told you, it's just no interviews. It's just me doing storytelling on the history of duck hunting. It's called Historic Duck Hunting Stories Podcast.
Can you go to YouTube and find it?
No, I'm not on YouTube yet.
We'll help you.
Just go Google Historic Duck Hunting Stories Podcast, and you'll see it.
Okay.
I've got about 100 episodes so far.
I did want to show you had your duck bands. They're over the sack. We had them earlier. They may have stuck them over there. That blue sack. Yeah. Maybe Beth, could you grab them? These are something I think is fascinating, and you appreciate it even more when you see how many duck bands that Dr. Capooth has. And all these duck hunters wear that around your neck with your duck calls. That thing is nearly solid duck bands. And each one of those have been taken from a duck that had been banded, and which is really an amazing story in itself, because each one of them has a date and it has a number. And then you call a clearinghouse and you say, I just killed this duck, was banded, and they want to know what the number is, where you shot it, who you are, and how many bands you have on there.
It's about close to 35, but that's 60 years here.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to tell people. That is an amazing thing. When people see you that around your neck, they know you are a veteran duck hunter.
One quick story here. I forgot my story, but I'll write some. So I always wanted to do what's called a triple crown. We got time here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Triple crown, and that's where I'd go out and kill and on the same day, 3 different species of birds. So doves, I killed on one day a limit of doves, a level of geese, and a limit of ducks. So I accomplished that, but then I wanted to, in a duck season, 60-day duck season, I wanted to kill 10 banded ducks. Well, I had, I think, 7 days to go, and I had 8.
In one hunt?
In one season. And then I didn't get to my 10. That was my goal, but I didn't
that's amazing, though, when you think about that, because you could hunt for the rest of your life and maybe not get a banded duck. And there's another thing, I forget what they call that. It's turkeys, because you got turkeys, about 7 different varieties of turkeys from Canada, Alaska, the United States, Mexico. And there are people that have gotten that whole list of turkeys, which is a grand slam, is what they call that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty amazing.
What is
So,
abandoned duck? What is abandoned duck?
it has that band you see.
See that band
they
right there?
They place it on their leg, and then it tracks it from that point, and it could end up banded in Alaska and ends up down in Memphis, Tennessee.
It's got a number on it. When you send in your little information to headquarters, they go by the number. They know where that duck was banded, when it was banded, and now they know when it was killed, and they know where it was killed, and they can get a sense of migration. By the way, we live in the condo down on the river, right smack dab on the Mississippi River in downtown Memphis, in the old Holiday Inn 14 story. We're on the 12th story looking straight north down at the I-40 bridge. But the main migratory bird we see in the fall coming south is the white pelicans, and they're absolutely gorgeous. There'll be some flights of white pelicans, a couple of hundred in those things.
Are those the white geese?
If you're seeing them coming down the river,
Yeah.
those are the white pelicans, not the goose.
The snow geese.
It
Because
is
I've
not.
seen them over there near Marion, Arkansas, where there are millions.
Now that's snow geese.
That's right. Okay,
Yeah,
because I've
yeah.
seen that. I've never seen the.
Well, these that are coming down, basically they come down from Canada, just like most of the migrant, and they'll stop at Reelfoot Lake, spend 2 or 3 days, the white pelicans, and then they'll overfly us and go down to where the White River ends and empties into the Arkansas River right before it empties into the Mississippi River. And they end up basically down in there and also down in Louisiana a little bit further down.
Do you see them like in Destin? Are they the white pelicans there, or more further to the west?
Where the white
Yeah.
white is? Yeah, they stay there all winter.
Yeah.
Down there.
Well, they're amazing animals. I mean, and they taste good. So you got that. There's an extra bonus.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Wayne Capooth, thank you very much.
Huh?
Oh, she wants you to give a duck call out before. The duck master, the Peabody said, if you get those ducks to leave the pond early, I'm going to come get you.
This is the feed call. This is the comeback call.
Get out of here before the ducks come.
Mating call? Yeah. Come on, girls. You give them that slow, seductive call.
Oh, I thought it was the...
Y'all stay over there. Don't come.
Hal will be the first to notice if they just start following it here. All right, we can't top that, folks. So thank you for watching today, and thank you, Wayne, for coming in and spending some time. You bet. And we'll see you next time. I can't promise you we'll have a show like this, but we will be back.